Hello friends, Stefan here, and today I think is the day that we're gonna make this video, the Q&A video. I'm gonna show you my workflow and answer a lot of your questions, regardless your comments in my videos. And yeah, let's go for it. Let me check the list with the questions. Okay, I have a lot of questions, and most of them are about the workflow, how I start the track, how I compose the sounds, how I interact. But let's start from the easy ones. So, I have a question here about the name of the cat. It's Naria, as a lot of you know. It was a street cat. Yes, I took her for 7 years, I think. She was about to die. Was very sick, but we ran to hospital surgeries, and now she's fine, and she's composed amazing tracks. The other question here is if I am self-taught. Yes, it's true. I never been in any music school or study any music technology. I was working a lot of years as a sailor in a music shop, so I read a lot of manuals about hardware and stuff. I started with hardware and back in the days, and then I moved to software, but now I return again to hardware, but in more hybrid ways. Also, this answer another question about how I moved from Volca to Electrons. And the reason was I wanted to close the gap between the dawless production, the dawless jam, and my production in DAW, because in DAW I had a lot of VSTs like Omnisphere, like orchestral stuff, and you can go crazy with tracks. But when you go to Volcas, there's specific sounds of the analog gear. So I was always try to find solutions how I will have my favorite DAW sound environment, but in the enjoyable playground of the dawless. So yes, this was a thing. Let me see another question. Yeah, I see a lot of questions here is about the workflow and the composition. But I have also a lot of questions about the setup. And let's see about it. So, let's put this away, because my currently setup is this one. I use the Digitakt. It's a sampler. If you don't know, the Digitone 2 is a FEM synthesizer, but they added some virtual analog also stuff. My Moog Mavis, it's currently do all the sound design analog stuff. And I have a small MIDI controller to control the Digitakt. So let me show you the connection. Until now I use the Roland S1 as my main virtual analog sawtooth synthesizer. So the connection was Moog Mavis output goes to Roland input, and from here I was going out to the Digitone inputs. So this way these two both signals path through the Digitone, so I added effect, and Digitone output goes to the Digitakt input. So all this mix pass through the Digitakt, so I gain some compression, and altogether came out from here stereo direct to my sound card. So yes, I don't use overbridge very often, not in MK2s, but also in the first models, because I don't know why. I think this output passes through the coloring preamps of the RME. Direct Logic has a very smooth and I don't know how to explain it, colorful sound. When I write from USB to Overbridge, I lost this color, so I have to add a lot of plugins. But in my latest album, Passage, I work with Overbridge and I have a lot of time. I make about 6 months to edit all the ideas from digitones direct to Overbridge, multitrack, and mix inside the Logic Pro. So this is the setup. It's very simple. I use also the same setup in live. Nowadays I replace the Roland S1 as my virtual analog with Digitone 2, because in Digitone 2, except the FM synthesis, they added the virtual analog machines. So in another episode I will show you how I managed to create similar sound in here and how all these controllers I mapped from Digitakt to control Digitone to control some of the functions inside of the Digitone. Because as you see, in one page you have the filter, in another page you need something else to handle, and you have to turn pages and you lost the knob per function. But when Digitakt control this, I make a map here. I will gonna share it to you in the next video, and I'm gonna show you all the things, how to replace your virtual analog. So let's put this away. And let's move forward. Yes, now about the workflow is the most common answer. So as a lot of you know, I work a lot of years as a sound designer. So I have a big collection of sounds. I work for theater companies, I work for virtual instrument companies. But I make a lot of my stuff. I'm a sample freak. So the most important thing when you buy a sampler, it's to import your favorite sounds inside. So as you understand, this is a lot of work. It took me years to collect some and made some of my samples. So the first thing when I take Digitakt is to put my favorite sounds. Also, you can import your sounds from the DAW. It's not a bad thing. It's a sampler. You can sample anything. I use also the DAW logic to sample things inside here that I can find. Some favorite kicks and some sounds from the Omnisphere. And the way I do that is by connecting the Digitakt with USB to my Mac, and in this way it acts like a sound card, and you go here and you can choose your sample source to be the USB, as you see, so it samples direct from your laptop. Also you can MIDI controlled by Logic, the MIDI clock. In this way, when you set up ARM and play, when you press play in Logic, this starts also, and you make a and you can record in quantized mode. That's very handy. No. Sorry. So I don't have a basic workflow. I mean, for me it's always like an empty canvas. I don't know, maybe a sound from here will inspire me, or maybe I will start here. The layout is not always the same, how I manage to add the sounds. For example, here I have my kick. I usually put my kick in 1. Number 2, I have my snare, the hi-hat, number 3. Yes, in number 4, usually I import some loops that I use a stretch or repeats or other warp machines. In number 4, I import the loops. In number 5, usually I have my bass, but in this track the bass came from Digitone. And in other tracks it's random, I mean. So I work in patterns. For example, let's go to pattern 1. It's my bass. Usually I copy the pattern to pattern 2 and add more stuff and do this process till a breakpoint or something that I think has to stop to evolve and move to another theme. So let's go to pattern 2. It's the same pattern but with added drums. Let's go. Okay, one important thing is the movement. The same thing I told you before in Korg Volca tutorial is the movement. It's a motion recording, Korg said, but here it's parameter logs. Each company has its own label for that. For example, here in the hi-hat, as you see, the sound is moving. And the reason is, if you choose track 3, the hi-hat, rec and play, you can record. And here you can record all the movement. I can record the pitch. This was recorded. Can I go to the app, record my move, attack decay maybe. Maybe I can go to add some panning, just gently. And you see, we have a movement. So let's see, track 4, I think I have my loop, let's see. No, it's empty. Here is my voice. I don't think it's... Yes, I recorded the voice with a zoom and then just connect the zoom inside the channel in the left right and import the sample. It's very easy. So let's move forward. So let's move forward. Let's see what we have here. So we have some pad sounds here. We have arpeggio sound in number 5. I can play it with my filter. Usually I don't record these automations because I like to perform live and have the action. Let's move forward to another pattern. As you see, it's the same pattern but have evolved. Now we change stuff. The sound came in, some breakbeats. Yes, some bendirs. This bendir I sampled from Damage, from the software. And as you see, I play different notes. Not this one. Yeah, I use, let me see, program. Yeah, I like to use the external keyboard for this to play percussive stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's more human. It has a more human feel. You can program that, but yes. Let me make a small break to explain you how this works with these machines. As you know, in the Digitones, you have a global channel. In my case, it's number 10. Usually, it's number 10. That means if you set this keyboard MIDI out to MIDI in here, if you set this keyboard to channel number 10, each time you press a sound, a track, for example, I press track 1 and go to track 2, you see every time I press something else, it's control the sound. That's very handy. And how I control this one, because from MIDI out I came to MIDI in here, but you have to choose a MIDI track to send MIDI here. So number 16, I go here and set to press function and play and the knob, and you set to channel 10, and this way you see every. Yes, so this way I control also the channels here. You see it. So yeah, the global channel becomes very handy. I don't find a solution how to modulate and pitch bend without use the internal edit here. You can, but it's a little tricky. And yes, let's move forward. So, not a lot of stuff happening, just layering sounds. The idea maybe come from everything, I don't know, maybe it's a sound. In this track, I mean, my main idea was the bass. Let's go to pattern 1. So everything starts from that bass. So I imagine why not to have everything punching in pattern number 2. So yeah, this is basically how the workflow goes. Here's the Moog. That's what it's doing. So Moog, I accept its nature because when I buy it to replace my Korg Volca my Volca keys, but it has no MIDI, and also I find very hard to tune it because I made a performance with that, and from the subwoofers it goes detuned in my live performance. It was a mess. So I accept its nature to be a semi-modular stuff. I don't know a lot from modulars, but I know it can make some also you can pass it from reverb and delay here. It sounds amazing. It sounds Moog. Yeah, I love this thing. Now something about the workflow that I think is very important. I work in projects, but each of one project contains a lot of track. For example, in this project, if you go to pattern 1. For example, in this project, you see these patterns here, 1, 2, 3 to 5, for me it's a track. Also 9 to 13 is another track. And if I move the page, see, usually my tracks are 1 to 5 patterns, maybe 7. This one has 7 patterns, or maybe 8 patterns, like this one. So the reason I try to do a lot of to create a lot of tracks inside one project is because when you play a live performance, you don't have the time to switch to project every track, and it comes very handy to inside one project have a lot of tracks. So this is the way I work. This this is a track broken. Yeah, a lot of you ask me how I made this track. It's a lot of sound design, a lot of audio manipulation. So again, you see, it's the same pattern, copied, but more involved. So this is only Digitakt, no Digitone at all. Yes. Let me see something. Whoa, nasty. So here I use some internal sounds. Let's see the sound here, because as you see, I mapped all these functions in the machine page, in the warp machine. Yes, and makes all this crazy stuff. So let me mute the other stuff, leave it alone. And as you see here, all these parameters, I record the automation of them, and the result is this. I record and play, and you see the values. Nasty. Yeah, some small tricks. I mean, I like to go deep in each pattern and do a sound design. Everything in its time to, I don't know, to involve with it, to get used to it. So another question I have, let's move forward, is if my music can be written, if the kind of music I make can be written with the VST, of course, because as I told you, composing with a DAW was my main thing for a lot of years. So yes, you can make all this inside the DAW, but hardware, for me, it's more fun, more enjoyable. You don't have the click and you don't have to watch a screen all the time. Yes, screen here, but it's mostly more interactive. You don't see the Q analyzer. You just have to use your ears to tune. And yeah, let me see some other questions. Okay, would you like to build? Yeah, answer that. I think I answered a lot of the questions about the workflow, how I compose and stuff. Also, I like to compose a whole different stuff, more cinematic, more ambient, more breakbeats, more. I like to do that stuff because I don't know, I never could make a one style of music. Maybe that's not good, but that's me. So another question I have is here about the mixing and mastering process. As you know, most of my jams are recorded in stereo, direct to the sound card. And then in Logic I add some limiter and some EQ, and that's it. Nothing more. Because as I told you here, the signal paths through the compressor, but I don't smash the compressor. See, the threshold doesn't work at all. Because I don't want to punch things out. I just add some gain here and the mix about 70%, just to have that sweet saturation of the gain. This is the sweet spot for me. So in this you can add a lot of stuff. The sound is already mixed, already finalized to my ears, but you need some EQ, and of course you need a limiter So these things I use Logic internal effects. I don't use third-party plugins for mixing and mastering. Let me see what else we have. Yeah, I think I get you covered. Hopefully I get you covered. This is how I work and my workflow. And yeah, hope you get inspired. If you like this video and get inspired, I will put a link. You can support my channel by go to Patron or donate to my PayPal, whatever you think. Thank you again for supporting me all these years. And please, if you have any other questions, leave it in the comment. For sure I will make another video showing you stuff. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye guys.